Red Hides Lanes, week number 9.
A familiar face.
Ray Tuckey Perez. This is game 2. Tuck leading off against Jim Massie here in game number 1. Tuck always starts strong. Very few times do we ever see Tuck come off with any less than a 10-bagger.
Sitting right in front of his wife, Sherry.
I don't know how Tuckey missed that 1 week yet. I'm wondering.
He said he didn't qualify because he had other commitments that week, so let us not think that it was a letdown in his game. Jim Massie has his work cut out for him, although after coming off a 255 game and leaving 2 pins that far apart. I always think back at Fred Flintstone when he used to have a split like this. He'd roll the barbells right down the channels and knock them off, but I guess you can't do that, not in the BPA.
I tell you what, Tom, it's an excellent idea, but the BPA might take offense to that. Might mess up the machinery in the back.
I think so. So let's see if he can make it the legit way.
Very close. The 210 is a difficult spare, and Jim was going about it the right way. You have to throw the 2 over into the 10, but it's a difficult shot. It's a precision shot.
Well, next week out at McIntosh, the junior traveling is going to have their banquet, and the Western Bowl girls win that division, and the Super Bowl the boys win that. Congratulations, boys and girls. Very good.
Split screen. We can watch the reaction. We can watch the pins.
Not much to watch there. There's nothing standing.
That's right. Jim didn't seem to get too excited either, Tom. It was just kind of another ho-hum strike.
After an open, I would imagine it's tough to get back on track, but he has to do it quick because this man will not let down. Ray Tuckey Perez opened with a strike. 8 of the 9 weeks we've seen the Tuck man. Just about memorized everything the man's ever done in bowling. And he leaves the whole right side.
Got around the ball a little early. Did not swing it out to the gutter. In the warm-ups and also in the first frame, we saw the man trust the ball, send it out to about the 2nd board, let it hook back in and rip him out. That time, cupped the ball a little early, would not go out to the 4th board even, driving straight through the nose, leaving the 3, 6, 10.
See how he plays it. Good as gold right there. We mentioned this year we've had 5 kings. The man you're looking at right now was king for week 3, week 4, week 5. In week 8, we did not see him last week at Loveland Lanes, but he's back again, qualifying with a 727 series here at Hides Lanes. The other kings this year, Alan Downs, weeks 1 and 2, Greg Lothian, week 6, Kerry Logan, week 7, and the reigning king, George Barlow, for week 8. Tuckey brings it almost right to the channel.
That ball there, what an incredible shot. You don't see it very often, and most of the league players might not see it at all because of the hook. Let's watch it here on the replay. This ball is going to go out to about the 1st board. Too far down the lane. Now it hooks back sharply, takes the 3 pin straight back, missing the head pin, the 1, and the 6 pin by no more than 1/4 of an inch on a side.
I did a story with Tuckey earlier in the week for News 5 Sports, and Tuckey said, he's very disappointed with that shot. Tuckey said that the best thing that ever happened to his bowling game was the way he could turn the ball over. He said that was probably the biggest bonus to his game. Unfortunately, it did not come about that way. So, an open frame for the Tuck in the 3rd frame. Leaves it wide open for Jim Massie. A break.
The light mixer coming through again.
Now, Dave, it's an interesting situation. Watch Massie on the replay right here as he knocks the strike down in the 3rd frame.
Jim Massie not wanting to go high, trusting the ball almost every shot today. He gets the maximum reward. Head pin, center your screen, to the wall. Again, wedging into the 4, then into the 7, knocking the 4 into the 8. That's what you want to see. You want to see pin action. You do that by staying loose.
Massie, 4th frame. Interesting to note, I was beginning to say, and he missed. He missed. He just missed. For the 3rd straight week, Massie's going to try to become the man who starts at the bottom of the totem pole and works his way through 3 matches. Sam, let's take a look at the score.
We've got...
well, if Jim gets a spare, he'll have 58 here with a spare.
Picks that spare up.
It's hard to believe, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, Lou Hudepohl working our scoreboard right now, made a mistake. It's hard to believe. Lou, that's his first one of this decade.
That's right.
But we'll
he
get
thought
it
he
corrected.
made one back in '82, but he was wrong. Tuckey back on track after that open frame in the third.
You know, it's been a lot of fun for me to come out here this year, Tom, and work with you and Sam, and the bowling has been, what are we averaging, Sam?
214.
214. I'm sure the folks at home have had a good time, but you know what? It's sad to say, but we've only got a couple of free shows to go, and we're going to miss it.
So Tuckey puts together 2 straight after that very open frame in the third. So when we come back, we'll continue with the Ray Tuckey Perez Jim Massie Game 2 here on week number 9 of the BPA King of Bowling. That brings you the pictures and events of every week on the BPA, and of course led by our stellar director, Mr. Calvin Washington. I'm Tom Verotto, along with Dave Newrath and Sam Coleman, who probably do the least amount of work here, considering that these guys are out every morning, every Sunday morning, putting the cables down, setting up the cameras, just so we could bring you action like this. Jim Massie's strike here in the 5th frame.
Sam, I don't know how to react to that. You know, years of working without any sort of reciprocation, and we got to catch this kind of flack, you know?
I was including myself in that group. Sam?
Well, Tuckey has 41 and 3rd with a double, and Jim Massie has 78 with a strike up, so it's about a 7-pin difference. So Massie can get this strike here, or he can pull away a little bit.
6th frame, Jim Massie.
Oh.
He's got the strike. Tuckey Perez knows what he has to do, as always. He finds himself in a position that he has to strike and usually answers the call.
Jim's happy. Jim, we led into it briefly in the opening of the show. He has a rather unique game. His style is not especially textbook, but boy, is it effective. Tuckey Perez brought that one back from right field, ripped the rack in half, almost left a 9-pin.
Tuckey Perez. If you don't know by now, the man has a list of honors longer than a midnight freight. Bowler of the Year in Cincinnati, 1984. State Team Match Game Champs, 1984. Hoinky Team Champs, Scratch Division, 84. PBA Coca-Cola Regional, first place, 83. Am I boring you guys yet?
Oh.
Come on.
It goes on and on. It's about 6 pages long, and this man right now has the strike.
We'd have to go to an hour and a half to read all of his accomplishments.
Oh, there's Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
She's checking out the scoreboard.
She won the Spiral Stakes over at Super Bowl II.
Yeah.
She's not Tuckey ain't the only one who wins money. She wins money too.
The force behind Mr. Perez. Sherry trying to figure out what to do should Tuckey win the $750.
She ought to be used to knowing what to do by now.
Tuckey says, I will not have 2 open frames in a match. He's already had 1 in the 3rd. Takes out the spare in the 7th.
Happened to my buddy Marshall Holman yesterday on the show. 3 opens in 1 game. Not normally what you can expect from Marshall, but still picking up 17 grand.
Not too dusty. 7-pin stands for Jim Massie.
A slightly light shot. Let's take a look at it here on the replay, Tom. The ball right here is going to deflect to the right. Watch it after it hits a head pin. Center your screen. Jump to the right. Just catch the 5-pin. 5-pin right there, sliding in front of the 7 and just missing it. One more Wheatie this morning, Sam, and I think he would have got that one.
So what he needed? Yeah.
Breakfast of Champions.
Oh.
Jim Massie, after winning the first match against Mike Whalen in front here in the 2nd match against, I hate to keep on saying it, but he is the hottest bowler on the Cincinnati tour, Ray Tuckey Perez. As I said, I spoke with him earlier in the week. He said he's got his sponsor, Irv Hoinky, and in the fall, we may see Tuck in the PBA.
Well, technically, Massie's up by 9, 127 to 118. They're both on spares. And Jim's got to go to striking right now.
Massie, after an open first frame.
Oh, look at that.
giving us a lot of X's.
He says 9 pins is not enough against the Tuck.
Well, so far we got 23 qualifiers for the men and 7 for the ladies. We'll bowl the finals at Glenmore Bowl on April the 13th. And our final show will be on Sunday, April the 14th.
At one time, that seemed so far away, Sam.
Oh, I know it did. Time's moving right along.
That one almost fell in the channel, Dave.
Well, the drawback against playing the outside or channel shot, we can watch it here on the replay, Tom. It's just, if you get it out to the first board and you got to, no, right there it's on the first board. It's teetering, okay? It comes back, and he threw a good shot, but he made about a half a board mistake. You know, we're talking 3/8 of an inch in 60 feet. That's a little tough.
And he leaves the 210. Tuckey Perez here in the 9th frame. Oh.
That's just about all but does it here. We do have 2 frames yet to go. Gomez's alternatives have been limited to nothing. He must strike in the 9th, 10th, 11th frames to have any sort of a shot at beating Jim Massie at all.
He can get 205. He goes out, David and Tom, but I think Massie has it under control, looks like, unless something happens.
He would force him to mark in the 9th and 10th frames if he can strike out.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Oh. Well, that just about sealed it for Tuck.
Absolutely
7,
unbelievable. 10. Incredible shot. You know, in the old days, Sam, you probably didn't see too many of those. And in the upcoming years, you probably won't, because the pin weights are going to change. That right there is caused by some light pins just jumping everywhere but where they should be, and that's on the ground.
So Tuckey leaves the 7. Now Jim Massie trying to do what 2 weeks ago Kerry Logan did. Knock off Ray Tuckey Perez, Kim Herman, and Greg Lothian, the king at the time, and what George Barlow did last week.
Any
knocking
kind of
off Tom Casey, Stan Eaton, and then the eventual king, Kerry Logan. So Jim Massie wins game number 2 here.
Out the lights, the party's
and he will go on to meet George Barlow. And Barlow has an interesting style, so we'll have two men with very interesting styles, Dave, in the championship.
I'm looking forward to it.
And Jim Massie can get 237. He goes out. The best Tuckey can get 184.
Still 44 pins above that 140 game we saw.
Makes no difference.
7.
Makes absolutely no difference what happens in the 10th frame with Jim Massie. This game is over. It's a tough break, and it's an incredible shot, but the 7-9 is not going to cause Jim Massie to lose.
But Tuckey's got 154 in the 9th. Well, look the way Jim's 194, 203 he'll have with the 1 count.
Oh.
203 is not too bad, though.
So an open in the 1st frame, an open in the 10th for Jim Massie, and Tuckey will just toss the pin.
Threw it harder, amped it up just to get out of the way. As we've seen, and you said so many times, Tom, Tuckey will be back, I'm sure. He's waiting on the machine.
He just wants to get off the lanes. Tuckey Perez. 8 times on the show in 9 weeks.
Way to go, Tuck.
That's right. You know, I knew Tuckey was good, but I never knew by just picking up the ball he could put down 10 pins.
He could think them down. I've never seen that before.
Now that's power. That should earn. I don't even think Earl Anthony could do that in his prime, Dave.
Now everybody now knows Tuckey's secret. He really doesn't bowl that well. He just thinks real hard.
No, look
Take a look at that minus the strike.
Yeah. 203 for Jim Massie, and Tuckey can get 174 with a strike.
With a legit strike, right?
Yeah, you scared him to death. Look at that.
Oh, boy.
Well,
he leaves the 9 pin.
173. That's
but a 173 for Tuckey Perez, not good enough, as Jim Massie advances to the championship game against George Barlow here in Week 9, Hyde's Lanes here on Cheviot Road, as you take a look at Jim Massie winning game number 2.